Hello, everybody, and welcome to Speed Gaming 2. We've got a Link to the Past Randomizer, the Invitational League, Season 5. This is week number 3. Week 3, excuse me. This will be Casual Boots. We've got OKDUDES on the right, Hitsuya 1337 against the Missing Playoffs. Sabotender will be up for Missing Playoffs. I'm here with my buddy P-Train. P-Train, how are you doing?
I am fantastic. I'm hoping Sabo's able to avenge me.
I was just gonna say, you guys just lost the first leg of this doubleheader. Hopefully for your sake, Sabo can pull it off.
Yeah, we need to get some wins here soon. We don't have too many weeks left to get them.
Yeah, that is true. Like I said, week 3. This is a 7-week regular season, and we're off. And just to do a little bit of housekeeping, OKDUDES are currently 4-1. And Missing Playoffs is 1-4. So as P-Train said, they've got to get some wins soon to try and kind of get everybody a little bit more bunched up together.
Yeah, I appreciate the early money in Link's house. That might make Kakariko slightly easier.
Yeah, I always wonder what to do there. Like in my race yesterday, I ended up getting a 50 in Link's house, and I was immediately like, oh, do I go buy bombs and just go right to Saha and like just get that out of the way and then do things from there? But yeah, the early money is really nice.
Yeah, it just gives you so many more options because when you, especially in like casual boots, like if you come out of escape and you don't have bombs and you don't have money, that decision as to what to do, it can be very awkward.
Yeah.
So just having money, it's like you can afford bottle vendor, and on top of that, you can afford bombs as well. So it just kind of takes the stress off of some of the Tier 1 routing.
Yeah, definitely.
So with this being casual boots, of course, we're doing the escape sequence. And we have boots, we have a sword, which it's one of my favorite combos in the game. I mean, I always love to have boots, and I think that's pretty well known around. I'm very vocal about the fact I love boots. But even having a sword, you don't have to worry about dodging enemies. You can just kind of dash as you please. And I don't know, movement with the boots, in my opinion, requires a higher skill level than movement without the boots. So just even as a viewer, I always like this part of the game just because you really get to see people's execution shine, and you can see who's put in time to learn how those boots work, and who maybe hasn't put in so much time. So what about you? Do you prefer escape sequences, or do you prefer open and just get right into it?
I actually would like if casual boots was without the escape sequence. Getting the starting boots and sword would be nice, but I like the freedom to run around and stuff. But I don't mind it. It's nice to get it out of the way. As a runner, you don't have to think about it anymore. A lot of like uncle starters will go do uncle, and then it's always a question of when do you actually go back and knock out escape. And to get that decision taken away, I think is actually a little bit of a stress relief as well. So I can have it either way, but I kind of prefer it without. Uh-oh. Watch out. All right.
Oh boy.
I was scared.
Let's not start off this way. Not like this.
There you go. Grabbing a heart.
Getting the heart.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people try to like min-max and get the most time that they can out of their execution, but almost always not dying will always be faster than dying. So yeah, you can try to be a super try hard and skip the health, but you hurt yourself if you end up dying. So
yeah,
I appreciate just like taking it safe.
Yep, definitely. And yeah, seeing these nice little dash lines here with the boots, kind of across the board. One of the things that you mentioned, having boots specific to execution, I think is definitely on point. I like seeing all these like nicely placed dash lines as well. Oh, Sabo going to the right. You never see this. But yeah, like when you're dashing through Kakariko and stuff, and it's just like it's really cool to see people who really know what they're doing, and hitting all those dash lines and stuff.
Yeah, I prefer the escape sequence at the beginning. I'm not a huge fan of having to make a decision about going back to escape. Whether or not you want to hold off like with a mirror, maybe route it in a pyramid. Also, especially like this is League, some of the races tend to be high stakes, so it's nice to kind of have 5 to 6 minutes where you're just solid execution. You don't have to do a whole lot of thinking. You don't have to do a whole lot of planning. Um, just get used to holding a controller, take a few deep breaths, and then once you get out of escape, now it starts.
Yeah, and this tends to be a high variance mode, but removing the escape sequence at the beginning reduces it a little bit. Yeah, it's nice to get out of the way. It's definitely stress relief as a runner.
Yeah, and also I will say that like I personally believe that anything that like carries the label standard or casual should definitely have like escape with the sword, because for me that is what is standard. It's a pet peeve of mine that the current standard mode, I'm using air quotes, starts with bombs, burna, aria, your pick of one of those.
Random
to me,
weapon,
that's not standard. Looks like we have a red crystal at Hera. I didn't catch any. I think it was all crystals in the light world, but I know I saw the red crystal at Hera.
Yeah, but literally nothing in escape except for a red boomerang, which is probably the worst boomerang.
And then immediately into Samaria, so we got a little bit of progression. Not immediately.
It doesn't do anything now.
So, and here's that situation. Like without that 300 in Link's house, they have like there's a nice stream.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting here talking about how you don't have a whole lot of consumable resources for Kakariko. And,
right. Yeah. Here's 32 bombs.
So I think that was 20 rupees on Lumberjack. And Sabo's not even going to bother checking it, so.
Yeah, I always wonder, like, how you could skip that in this mode. Because there's no better time to do it than right now.
Nice.
No, Sabo.
Mushroom spot.
Little does he know, there's 32 sitting there in a pool.
I, too, feel a little silly, like, trying to skip Aga in this mode, but watching racers, especially in like high-level competitive play, I feel like it's skipped more than it's checked, which to me feels weird. But it's like I almost wonder if I missed like the update that this is now the meta.
Yeah, I mean, the only time that you can do it from here on out is if you're going up to Old Man. But if a flute shows up, when do you actually route that in? I have no idea.
Yeah, it's a weird one. I think you just about have to make a conscious decision, either to try to get it with Bumper Cave, or like if you have a mirror, or you just go out of your way to check it. But either way, that's probably going to be near a last location, because I can never see choosing to scout that over any crystal dungeon.
Yep. And it could very well be Sabo thinking that he's up against Hitsu. If I remember correctly, Hitsu is on the championship team in season 1 and maybe season 2, and you got to figure out how to cut corners, and that's an okay one to cut. There's still some things that need to be given to you to put something like Ag in logic. So save a good 30 seconds to a minute. I don't even know how long it takes to go up there and do that and route back around and stuff. So yeah, I could see where you would make the skip, but personally, I could never do it. I'm not that risky.
So far we just have a Master Sword, Kate, and okay, we actually have a lot now. I was gonna say we only have Fire Rod and Sword, but yeah, we got a bit of stuff.
Should we go do Aga? I just talked about it.
I mean, you could. I would probably pick Eastern, but that's the decision.
But we're starting to get that stuff, right? All we need now is a lamp, and technically it's in logic. You can't do anything without the Moon Pearl, obviously, but
I mean, Eastern might be in logic with the Fire Rod. We don't know yet.
Right.
And that's a crystal, so that would definitely be on my radar. Before South Shore, I'm not so sure, but definitely before Aga, maybe even before Dark World. I don't know.
I personally am probably doing Eastern right after CAC. Given the fact it's a crystal, I haven't been to Saha yet. I really love doing the early Saha stuff.
Yeah.
The 3 easy checks with boots, it doesn't take very long to get over there.
Yeah, actually in open mode, or open boots, I love just rushing Saha, just because it really doesn't take a whole lot of time to check.
Yep, that's usually my opening in that mode. Nice glove there.
1/3 of our Dark World access. You know, not counting Aga, because no one wants to do that.
So we got nothing in Escape, and in CAC we got a bow, a fire rod, a glove, and we had Samaria right before we entered, so...
So I think Hitsu's 100% going to go to Eastern here. I don't know about Sabo. I'd be surprised if Hitsu doesn't beeline for Eastern. Oh, wow.
Wow.
Hitsu, I think I have, in my mind, I have Hitsu loving Crystal Dungeons. If he gets a chance to do it.
I have Hitsu clown routing, so maybe that's what this is?
Last locating dungeons.
Yeah, exactly. But we're synced up. You know, basically Sabo has only skipped that the lumberjack, which turned out to be nothing. We have the exact same rupees and just a couple of bombs different between the two.
Yeah, I'm also kind of with chat here. I would prefer Eastern if only for the hope of getting Zora money.
There was that 300 sitting on race game, but yeah, with Fire Rod, it's super easy to get the extra money in Eastern if you need it.
Hitsu's checking Agahnim like a fool. I don't know why you would assume Agahnim has progression.
And Sabo doing the OP play and just going straight to Mini Moldorm. I like it. I can't wait till Hitsu gets...
making the intelligent call here.
Yeah. Hitsu's just going to get a piece of heart here or something. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. For those not in the loop, my race had Flute and Agahnim, which ended up being my go mode. So.
Oh, there's a lamp.
GGW rightfully dunked on me. So Sabo bailed out from not checking Agahnim. That's nice.
Do you think he watched your race before this? Was like, the Agahnim can't have anything 2 times in a row.
I know I saw him in Twitch chat at the end. I don't know how much of it he watched, but if he saw any of it, he probably saw enough.
Yeah, he's like, what are the odds, right?
So, and to be honest, we're kind of running out of things to do outside of Eastern.
Yeah, it's just Zora. The mountain is now in Logic, but you can't really do that much up there other than rescue the old man and check Spec Rock. So I would expect after Sabo does some of this fake flipper shenanigans that he's going to make a beeline for the Eastern area.
I mean, you can't even really rush Aga without the Moon Pearl.
Yeah, there's definitely no reason to do it. Sometimes you would put off Eastern, but since it's a crystal, I don't see why you would think about that. Sabo choosing to do Hobo here. I would probably go do Zora since you have the boots.
Well, the thing is, he doesn't have Moon Pearl, so if he checks Waterfall Cave, he loses Water Walk, right?
Only if you get a heart piece that fills up your heart containers.
Okay, I don't know why in my mind I had it that if you went left or right in the underworld, then it disarms your water walk.
No, only if you swim in there. So I think if he were to swim in there and have a Moon Pearl, then he would get the water walk back. But if you go in there with it armed, I believe you keep it.
Oh, okay.
I guess we'll see.
Something that I probably should have known years ago.
We'll find out here in just a second. Hitz is going to do it. But I'm pretty sure you can just walk right out and go check Zora after this. Unless he gets a heart piece that kills him. All right. He's good. Wow, I never thought that I would teach P-Train something.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like at one time.
Oh no! Oh, that's rough.
That he can. So here's the thing. This is assuming Sabo knows Splash Delete. Unless if Sabo doesn't find flippers and later does Zora, he won't be able to Splash Delete because of Armos. At least not immediately.
Yeah,
And
he'll
I
have
don't
to dump a
know.
bunch of bombs or fire that lamp a bit.
So Hitsu can do this with the splash delete, though. This
If
is a
he
hard
knows it.
splash delete, though.
He gets
Nice.
it.
Well done. I mean, dang it, Hitsu.
Yeah. Hitsu, what are you doing?
Go,
You're not
Sabo.
you're not supposed to do Patreon's teammate like this. That's pretty rough. I hope Sabo makes his way over there sometime soon.
Yeah, that was really well done on Hitsu's part. And
Yeah.
yeah, that flute. I mean, it's one of those things that pays dividends. The sooner you get it, the more it pays off. So that's
Yeah.
a real good find for Hitsu.
Yep. With boots, it's not the worst thing, but you know, if Sabo decides to go up the mountain the old-fashioned way, like that's just extra time that Hitsu's going to gain on him, being able to just flute up there. You know, later going to pod, for instance, he could just flute over 5. So, you know, I think for Sabo's sake, you almost wonder, like, hopefully nothing is here other than a moon pearl, and he's going to say, I don't have that much left. Maybe I should go check Zora.
Yeah, if Sabo also last locates a flute, I might lose my mind.
in the exact opposite direction in the map, right?
Yeah. Okay, a dubious shovel right there. I would be slightly annoyed with that just because, you know, there's no real convenient time to check it before you make, like, I don't know, an Aga player go into the Dark World. You pretty much just
Right.
have to start at Lick South, turn in the flute, and then save and quit and do whatever else you were going to do.
Yeah.
But Hitsu's, like, really trying hard to avoid Eastern, and I wonder why.
He's clown routing, I told you.
I mean, you have a flute and a glove. Like, why not just go there?
Saving old man's not the worst thing in the world, but like if there's a mirror in Eastern, you start to feel bad for doing this climb right here. What is it? Is that like bombs or something?
Yeah, I think it was bombs.
Oh, he's going to get
Or
it.
maybe.
Oh,
maybe
hey, look.
not.
A mirror in Eastern. Would you look at that?
So what is Hitsu going to get here? I'm really curious.
Maybe it's Burna.
Flippers.
It was something blue. Oh, okay.
Okay, so that's not so bad for Sabo.
I think that's actually really good for Sabo, especially considering he has the mirror now.
Yeah, the only thing though, I mean, it depends on how early we get Dark World access. I don't know how quick Sabo's going to be to clean up the Zora area once he hits Dark World. Okay, Hitsu's finally making the Eastern play.
Yeah, it's weird that he skipped it, especially with the glove. Like it's so easy to check Eastern and then just go do Saha.
Yeah. I approve of doing Eastern before Saha. It's much easier to get to Saha from Eastern than it is to get to Eastern from Saha. Oh, Sabo getting bullied by Armo, so he's going to have to sight read the fight.
He still had 24 arrows, so he should be fine here. Yeah, he's good. All right, so we're still missing Dark World stuff. At this point, what do we have? We have Hera that's brand new that we haven't seen. Is there anything else?
I think that's it. I mean, we haven't seen Hera.
That's like the only new thing that we haven't seen is Hera, because we've seen all of Zora and we've seen the rest of the mountain.
And we don't have a Pearl yet, so I don't see anyone doing. Oh, Shovel.
Oh, the
but
shovel. That's right.
I don't see anyone doing Aga though without that Pearl. I certainly wouldn't.
Yeah, you would
Pearl on
last locate.
Pyramid. Yeah, Pearl on Pyramid will always be a last location for me.
Yep. Which would be good for Sabo in this case, because it'll get him that flute for sure. So this is probably a save and quit to sink, I would guess.
All right, so Sabo will probably check Lumberjack, even though we know it's garbage at this point.
Yeah, so he's going to get this to be able to route optimally, which is nice.
Yeah,
And
not that
Hitsu's
Hitsu lost a ton of time, but this probably is the better route.
Yeah, it lucked out for Sabo in this instance. And Hitsu going to get that mirror. I feel like with him and GGW, you never know if they're going to end up skipping the big key chest at Eastern. He doesn't have a ton left,
feel like
but
you can't do that before Dark World Access, in my opinion. Like, you just can't.
I've seen GGW do that before, and these guys have been teammates for a while, so you never know.
Especially if you have the lamp, so it's in logic. That's a bold play, in my opinion.
Yeah,
you're
this
memeing
late,
if you do that.
for sure. Hitsu doesn't have much left, so I don't think you skip it in this instance for sure. I'm just saying, I have seen them do it. So hopefully those flippers push Sabo over to Zora, just to get that flute.
Yeah, and we still need like two more progression pieces for to avoid Aga. We need a glove and a moon pearl, or we need a hammer and a moon pearl.
Yeah, I think hookshot or hammer is probably sitting in Hera at this point.
Hitsu killing Armos a bit quicker than Sabo did, so that's a time back for him. Also with that flute and already saving the old man, he's immediately back up to the mountain. So again, just kind of showing off that that difference. As long as he has that flute, he's just always going to be traveling the map faster than Sabo.
Yep. Well, until he bonks those statues outside.
Go statues! I don't remember anything being in the back of Saha, so Hitsu's probably heading back up to the mountain next.
Yeah.
Either that or checking the shovel. Which he might do, because, you know, like hammers on the shovel, you wouldn't want to go up to the mountain without that, so.
Yeah, I mean, he's only got 2 more checks on the mountain versus that 1 in shovel, so I think given that shovel might open up more stuff on the mountain, it seems like the better play. So are we going to get a tower room play? Is this going to be a small key here? I know you go upstairs first, but no hook shot. Oh, we got an item.
So I've been taking a lot of damage here. I might have considered mirroring there.
Oh, Hitsu, wow. Going to check Hobo first. This is interesting.
I don't hate it. I mean, if you went to check the shovel, why would you not do this? You know, like I feel like they're roughly the same time. But yeah, just watching them back to back, this just feels like a really long time for just 2 checks.
Yeah, because I feel like Hitsu's the type of person to like rush the next progression item when you get it.
Yeah.
So I'm a little surprised that he did this. I mean, he did just get flippers not that long ago, so it does make sense. But yeah, to your point, that's a decent amount of time to spend in those 2 checks. Then again, if like we were saying before, if the hammer is one of those, you feel really bad when you finish Hera and go back down the mountain and find the hammer and
climb the mountain for a 3rd time.
Right.
Sabo opting not to do the bomb jump to get to. Oh, we got a map check. green, ice,
Ooh.
and then pendant,
Skullwood.
skull, and mire.
Yeah, and I think pod was the red crystal. So maybe you don't need that flute. Maybe it's just fool's gold. What do you think?
Man, if Hitsu loses because of the flute, like that's a race I can get behind right there. Like take
Like,
that,
what if,
okay, dude.
yeah, what if there's a book here sitting on Moldorm and Desert's got all your progression?
All right, we got a pearl.
Yeah, French vanilla pearl. So that means that this is an Agassiz? What are we missing?
I mean, it's definitely got to be an Agassiz. The question in my
'Cause we-
mind is whether Sabo gets that flute before or later, before or after
Are,
Aga.
are we just checking the crystals here? Why is Sabo going on Dark World? Oh,
Not even
you
doing a
should
map check.
I think he didn't realize it till the last second.
I think he might have
So-
thought maybe Spike Cave or something, but didn't
Yeah.
realize that he didn't have the hammer because he got Cave. So
All right, well, here comes your flute. I'm hoping that he doesn't go to activate it right away.
yeah, you
Because-
should hold off on that one.
Yeah, like the best thing would be is you get the hook shot in pod or something, and you could just mirror at Thieves Town and activate it then. So we're gonna be pretty synced up, aside from the flute activation, I think. Chat pointing out that Sabo hasn't done Agahnim, so he may go activated just to do that. But
Nah,
for your sake, I hope
wouldn't.
not.
Yeah, I not that it's a bad play, but I personally wouldn't at this point. But then again, though, we've seen what can happen if you put off Agahnim, so what do I know?
So Sabo's saying no to that 20. I was wondering, I couldn't remember how much money he had. Like, is he going to have enough money for pod? So he does, which is good. So let's see, where are we saving Quentin to? We're going to activate it.
I mean, if he checks Agahnim, then okay. I wouldn't do it, but I get it. But
Yeah, it totally
yeah,
makes sense.
If he activates the flute and then goes and does Aga, then we'll have a team meeting.
And then we could just blame GFE because it's probably something GFE told him to do, right?
So Hitsu with his fire rod should be able to get through Aga Tower pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's always the worst to go in here with a fighter sword. Master sword
yeah.
isn't so bad, but fire rod makes it so much better, especially when you're in those like 4th and 5th and 6th floors. I don't even know how high you go. I don't run NMG P-Train, so you're gonna have to teach me.
All right, Sabo is making the Agahnim play, so all is well.
Team meeting averted.
Yeah. Now, I mean, we make jokes, but on the real, like when you're doing these races, like nerves can be a big factor. Like sometimes it's hard to make decisions on the fly. Like, you have a plan in your mind and then you find an item that completely like changes everything, and you have to figure all that out on the fly while you're also doing these, really hard dungeons or, really complex overworld movement. Like it's a lot to do.
100%.
On the fly.
I bet if you ask Sabo after this race what he was expecting in the Zora area, flute would have been far down the list. And the immediate thing when you get it is like, oh, now I can go do that one check that I orphaned.
So Hitsu is almost an entire climb ahead of Sabo, which I feel like is, if anything, kind of a testament to how valuable that flute was early on. Is Hitsu able to get around the map more efficiently than Sabo was?
Yeah, I think the only thing that Sabo had on Hitsu from that perspective was the ability to check Agahnim with the flute, because Hitsu did that early without it. But yeah, to get to the mountain a couple of times like he did, and to flute over to eastern area and do Saha more efficiently, it definitely helped.
So Hitsu, and this is being super nitpicky, but just because I love educating, Hitsu is not being the most efficient with Aga here. You always want to position yourself to where you're knocking Aga to the center of the room, so that when he warps, he doesn't have to warp so far. We're talking about probably less than a second, but since you have all the time in the world to stand there and think about it anyways, anytime he's not right up against the wall, you want to try to knock him toward the center of the room.
I see GGW in chat. I hope he's taking notes as well. But Sabo also making quick work of the climb. Depending on how many blue balls we have, he might be in there around the same time.
Yeah, it does feel like this has been a very long Aga fight. Alright, I'm finally done.
Yeah, it was at least 4 or 5 cycles through, I think.
Aga left Hitsu's screen to go fight Sabo.
Yeah. You were the one who had that awesome clip, right, where the flute activation duck went from one screen to the other. That was your race, right?
Yeah, that was. My opponent was activating the flute as I was finishing Aga 2.
Yeah, that was fantastic. I remember that that clip. And for those of you who know, we've got OKDUDES, I think, fighting in chat a little bit here. It's his teammates. All in good fun, obviously. Hitsu going over to the catfish area. Nothing on the pyramid.
Catfish over pod, basically. I don't hate it.
I mean, without a bottle, you know, mimic clipping, it sucks.
Oh, wow. That means you got
Nice
a bow,
hammer.
though.
Oh, yeah. Duh. I wasn't even paying attention. Yeah.
So clearly, Hitsu, the hammer, was on catfish, so might as well go pick that up before pod. I'm joking.
Right.
In case anyone in chat think I'm legitimately accusing Hitsu.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like when he was on the way to catfish, I totally forgot the fact that they had the bow, because pod feels like the better play here. But wow, and not even going to finish
Still
it.
avoiding the crystal dungeon.
This is a play. I'm curious as to GGW's thoughts on this one.
Maybe he just hates the bow. That's why he avoided both Eastern and pod.
Yeah, we've established that he doesn't like crystal dungeons, so I'll be curious to see what Sabo does here. He's probably going to waste a couple minutes in pod because he doesn't have that hammer. And we're right.
Oh boy. So Sabo's gonna feel the worst when he finds that hammer.
So if there's a hook shot here, do you think he skips that hammer?
Well, no, because the hook shot would send you right by catfish, right?
Well, he might just decide to go to West Dark World with it.
I personally can't see going to West Dark World without checking catfish. Just because the cost of like having to do all that without the hammer, like you're making yourself do a whole bunch of really nasty decisions.
Yeah.
When you can just spend 30 seconds or 2 minutes, however long it is, checking catfish and just have that peace of mind.
Yeah, I asked only because he skipped or not the lumberjack check early on, and if you're trying to cut corners, like catfish is a decent corner to cut. So
Yeah,
hopefully for his sake, obviously he doesn't.
Yeah, I think you need more items before you start cutting corners like that. I mean, me personally. I mean, he may do it,
Yeah.
but I just in my mind, like, I'm all for making skips, but I think you have to have a lot to do, a lot to be able to full clear before you can really start trying to do that.
Yeah.
I think catfish would be a bit premature in my opinion.
I agree. I think especially when you have the mirror and you killed Aga, it's you save and quit to the pyramid. It's a fairly easy check to make. It's just if a hook shot is in here, I could see it. And we're making the pod play now.
I want to make a joke like just poor Hitsu, last locating his second crystal dungeon. How is he ever going to come back from this? Sabo taking a par 2 with this bombable wall. Happens to the best of us.
Yeah, I probably missed that wall like 50% of the time. you don't realize how far left you need to do or walk to throw that bomb and get it.
Yeah, bombs are weird. Like for something that you work with like so much of the game, you just sometimes forget how far they go. Well, on the bright side, I haven't seen anything in pod that's like super valuable, so maybe Sabo. I mean, he's gonna have to get the hammer sooner rather than later. It locks too much for him to go. The worst thing for Sabo would be mitts, probably.
Yes.
Like I can't see too much else like really giving him a hard time.
Yeah, and hopefully for his sake, there's nothing super important on Helma either.
Hitsu is using bombs for walls that he could be dashing through.
I mean, it's a choice. Maybe he's doing a lot of pseudo boots races in the ladder, and he just forgets the fact that the boots can go through the wall. I don't know. So pod empty.
So
Sabo, no, save and quit.
Okay, thank God.
There we go.
That was about to be a long walk.
Okay, so he's getting funneled into that hammer, which is nice.
Yeah, he's still gonna feel really bad though, just the fact he could have single dipped it. And
Definitely.
I wasn't paying attention. I don't even know if there's an item on Helmosaur or not.
I believe there is, but I'm sure chat will correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, given you do the pod play first, like this is the worst item you could find. Like, oh great. You mean I could have killed Helma? Thanks, game. Yeah, chat. I definitely agree in terms of the funneling to this hammer. It's just it's a real feels bad when you just left pod and you find this hammer here.
Yeah, this is the best case of a bad situation. I mean, he had to know it was either going to be hammer or hook shot.
So where are we floating? 3 or 4?
Or 5.
Or if we're just gonna go clear it.
Go
All
do
right.
it.
Okay.
I mean, it makes sense though, because you probably, like, it's 50-50 whether your opponent did that before or after pod, right? So
Yeah,
you don't. There's never going to be a better time to do it. So
Yeah, no, I agree. The only other time this may potentially get a little bit better is if you had the green pennant. So, especially when pod's on your mind, you were just here. It's definitely a good play to make.
I think that was a bottle on Helmosaur.
Yes, it was. So we'll see if we remember to do Sick Kid. I feel like that's something I forget frequently.
So I'm slightly, and no, you're going to get 3 hearts, never mind. But I'm slightly worried about Sabo's health, but, well. Okay, so I'm slightly worried about Sabo's health. It's not like Helmosaur's impossible. Like, we have new tech with the spin speed hammer stuff, but, yeah, Helma's not exactly free. Well, he's got cape. He should be all right.
I was about to say, you have the cape, so you should be fine, especially with the Master Sword. But you're right. It's not the easiest fight in the world. So chat's asking, East Death Mountain or Thieves in Skull Woods? What say you, P-Train? I'll give my thoughts after you.
Oh, I like Village of Outcasts to Hype Cave if I'm Sabo. Probably don't touch Skull Woods at all. If I'm Hitsu, I think I like the mountain better.
Is that because we know Hitsu doesn't like crystal dungeons, or you're just putting yourself in this position?
So if I'm Hitsu, the reason why I'm holding off on Village of Outcasts, I'd want to do the mountain first to try to... I want to avoid Pendant Skull. But if I have to go to Village of Outcasts, I want a better read on Skullwood. So for Hitsu, get the mountain out of that way. So after I clear Thieves, if I haven't found progression, I feel good about doing Skullwoods, and then I feel good about maybe doing some of the North Dark World as well with the mirror and the cape. But Sabo, I feel like he's, he would want to avoid Skullwoods. So let's do Thieves, let's go to Hype Cave, then let's go to the mountain. And then at that point, you have Skullwoods left.
Yeah, totally makes sense. And Hitsu doing neither of those things, deciding to do Pyramid Fairy, which is a perfectly reasonable play. Especially with Aga done, you can just use the mirror and do that quickly. But it's funny because the mountain's always like a decent play with all the number of checks that you have, but like with Mitts, it's so much better. No hook shot, so even with Mitts, you'd have to skip out on hookshot cave unless you can hover. So yeah, it's an interesting choice. I like your reasoning there, especially in Sabo's. Sabo, what are you doing? Where are we going?
I have no idea what this is. This has to be a... No, what could he be doing?
I'm only asking because he has the mirror and flute.
Yeah.
And he can save and quit to the pyramid.
I can't think of where he's going that this makes sense.
This feels like a Hype Cave play, but I feel like it would have been faster to...
Was there something on Hylia Island?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I would have fluted to 4 in that case. Welcome, everybody, to SpeedGaming 4.
Ooh, nice raid. So for those of you just joining, we've got Sabotender versus Hitsuyan. It was an Aga seed. The hammer was on Catfish. Sabo decided to do pod before getting that hammer, and Hitsu got the hammer first, so that's why he's in a little bit of a lead here. But otherwise, we're basically tied up in terms of items and checks after Sabo gets this red bomb in.
See, and this is one of the reasons why, like I was saying, like if I was Sabo, I would have gone to Flute Spot 4. Because this would have been a little bit of a better route, like doing Thieves, Village of Outcasts, and then that route ends at Hype Cave. Because the way it stands now, I feel like you've kind of splintered your route. Like after Village of Outcasts, you can go south, but then Skull Woods kind of ends up being awkward, and you can't go Skull Woods and leave like Dig Game, Stumpy, and Cave 45. So it's just it'll be interesting to see how Sabo cleans some of this stuff up later.
Yeah, I agree. Especially with those North Dark World checks and having the cape and the mirror, you're definitely gonna have to make a choice now. So this is gonna be a flute. Where are we going? Right, so we're gonna follow Hitsu into Thieves Town. Oh, we remembered. I told you this is something I tend to forget. So good by him to remember to turn this in.
So nothing really in the front of Thieves.
No, I'm curious if there was like this, if there was a team meeting with Hitsu a few minutes ago around clearing crystal dungeons, because it's weird that he's in here.
Also, he's down to 2 hearts, and you know, Hitsu is a very capable player, but also Thieves Town can just be rude no matter how good you are. So
yeah, at least you've got Blue Mail.
He has a decent Hellway.
Yeah, quick swapping a mirror. Okay. All right. So in Hitsu's position, like, you have to go to Skull Woods and do the North Arc World after this, right?
Yeah, I feel like you do.
Like, I feel like if you
I wouldn't feel happy about it, but I don't see what else you could do. Would you do the North Dark World and then come back for Skull? Like after Graveyard Ledge, or would you just rush Skull from the back to the front and then clean up North Dark World after?
I would probably do Graveyard into Skull. Well, no, there's no Fire Rod, so actually you're probably doing the front of Skull into Graveyard Ledge in that instance.
No, we have Fire Rod.
We do. Oh, I don't. Why am I forgetting like all these items that we have sitting on the tracker? By the way, Yoinker's wife doing a fantastic job tracking, and as usual, one of the comms is totally screwing it up. You know, I don't know. I don't understand why Hitsu's here, given the pendant dungeon thing in Skullwoods. You've committed to going the long way into the Dark World, right? You kind of have to do it. I think.
Yeah, I don't like it, but I don't see Hitsu being able to make a different decision here. I mean, also, though, I'm kind of speaking like, oh, I know that there's going to be nothing in Skull Woods. I mean, for all we know, you know, Mock drops mitts and we're happy, you know, but I don't know. I don't feel great about Skull Woods over the mountain. But especially since, because when you do Skull Woods, you also have to commit to North Dark World. And I think that's a lot of time for less density.
Well, but to your point, that was why you do the mountain before Thieves Town in that instance.
Yeah. Hitsu with a good blind script.
Yeah, I don't know why I forgot about that Fire Rod. It was so long ago. Maybe that's why.
Yeah, that was blindside. I think third chest. Way back when. All right, so moment of truth for Hitsu. Do you bail to go to the mountain, or do you stick around the Dark World? And he is sticking around, which I agree with in this situation. I mean, in this circumstance, sure.
Yeah, when you choose to do Thieves Town, I think you have to, at a minimum, do these 2 checks.
Yeah, I do like that he is putting off Skullwoods at least. Oh, Ether.
Look at all those spears.
Seen that strat to get into Bumper Cave, but I like it.
So he took out the mirror pretty early. Do you think it was to mirror into the light world or to go to Graveyard Ledge?
Who knows? I never do with Hitsu.
Yeah.
I'm not even meaning that as an insult. I don't know what I would do in this situation. I hate the idea of doing Skullwoods. I do like the idea of checking this first, but when you're here, I don't know if I like the idea of leaving Skullwoods forever. You know,
Right.
like
At that point,
you
it's
bail on
last
Skullwoods
location.
here. I don't know when you come back.
Right.
Like maybe you do Skullwoods before Hookless Swamp.
Skullwoods and Hookless Swamp. What's wrong with you, P-Train?
Sabo also with a decent blind script. Not flawless, but not bad.
And Hitsu going back into the Dark World.
For King's Tomb.
Ah, right.
I personally love King's Tomb without the bits when I can check it.
Yeah.
And the fact he kept his portal, I'm not sure if he's up on the new tech, but that to me would imply... Okay, well. He could have made it to King's Tomb without... Oh, wait, no, he doesn't have hookshot.
You need a hookshot. Yeah. I was like, what new tech is this? We've got council member P-Train on the comms today about to come out with some breaking news, I think.
So, all right, so I think that's gonna that pretty much makes Skullwoods a near last location for Hitsu.
Yeah, and
Sabo's going there.
Yeah,
this could be interesting.
So I'm not gonna lie, I'm wondering why Hitsu's here and not Hookless Swamp. Obviously, I'm.
Well,
joking,
it's still a crystal. It's a crystal. So.
Right? Yeah.
Hookless crystal swamp.
Right. So if you were a fan of Missing Plaths, you're hoping that Sabo gets something in Skullwoods. Checking Big Key chest first. So maybe he forgot he also had the fire rod. I'm kidding. I don't know. It's perfectly reasonable, I think, to say. First.
I mean, I don't know. It's a pendant, so I guess I can get behind this. I just generally tend to check Skullwoods from the back to the front anytime it's an option.
Right. Yeah, the only thing I was curious about was why he didn't get the key. You know, stealing the key in the big key chest, that section over there. But you know, getting a couple keys here, so it's not going to matter.
That's one item. Especially if you're in Pendant Skull. Like, if you find the big key in the back, this takes so long. Oh, both items.
Okay, so at least it wasn't like a huge time sink for him.
Yeah, no, that was the optimal route for this layout.
Well, if he wouldn't have gone to big key chest, but yeah. Oh, there's the mitts.
Mitts on the mountain. So had Hitsu come up here first, after clearing thieves, he would have had a really easy smith chain. Now, though, what are we looking at? Maybe an ice play? Also have a Myers on the table?
Potentially, depending on the medallion, but yeah. I think given the fact that Ice Palace is a green pendant, it's definitely more attractive, but I think you flew over to the Meyer area at a minimum and clear out desert while you're there.
Yeah, I forgot ice was a pendant. I also forgot Meyer was a pendant.
Well, maybe, you know, Hitsu and the crystal thing, like it's very possible he decides to do Meyer first and ice first before clearing desert.
One thing that's kind of interesting to note from both of the players, I don't feel like either of them are racing particularly aggressive. Okay, hits it with the third medallion, so that's something we won't have to worry about for the rest of the scene.
Yeah, they're being very thorough.
Yeah, I mean, you can argue maybe Sabo going to pod over Catfish was slightly aggressive. I don't personally see it that way, but no, they both runners have been super thorough in their outing.
This is interesting. So Hitsu gonna go into TR.
He's at least gonna open it.
I think if you
Although
take the
he's
time
already
to mirror,
he's
you're
already
going
checked.
inside.
Yeah, he's already checked the mountain, so I guess he is. I mean, I do feel like the meta, with few exceptions, is if you can dive TR, you dive TR. Like, with few exceptions. Because other than that, the only crystal dungeon he has is desert and the Meyer area.
Yeah, I mean it's 5 easy checks. You know, with 2 desert, Meyer shed, and then checkerboard. I was gonna say, is Sabo gonna do spike cave or something? Yeah, this is interesting. I mean, Hitsu has climbed the mountain a lot already, so I can see the desire to not want to do it. Hopefully, your ice rat is here, and you could just wait till later. But it's 5-5 in terms of the Meyer checks versus TR. So
Yeah, and then also, like, what do you do after desert? You know, because, like, once you bailed on TR, I feel like you kind of have you're in that vein, you kind of have to put it off until you've exhausted everything else. So
I agree.
now that puts Meyer on the table. That also puts ice on the table, all of which you would probably rather do than climb TR. You know, I kind of see checking it. Hitsu. Yep, he just went ahead and got there. He knew.
Yeah.
Whenever the cape disarms itself in a door, it locks you. You are forever walking down, and you can't do anything either until you mirror to the dungeon, you save and quit, or you are able to reactivate the cape. Hitsu couldn't reactivate the cape, so his next best option was to mirror back to the start of the dungeon. It'll be interesting to see what Sabo does with TR.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what I would do in this instance, and I really don't know. Like, what makes TR a little more unattractive to me is the fact that, like, if I get hookshot off the mountain, like I can loop in hookshot cave with TR. Now I'm not a hover. You would have cleared it by now. But for me, it's like, you know, it's kind of taking that risk of hopefully the hookshot is off the mountain. I can clear swamp and desert, and then later I can get hookshot cave in. Oh, all right.
Dodge. If I'm Hitsu, I probably dive TR. If I'm Sabo, I probably bail, because in Hitsu's place, like, you have to feel good about when you got the flute. You have to feel good about when you got the hammer. But in Sabo's position, not so much, right? Like, Sabo was late to the flute, he was late to the hammer. So maybe he might feel like, in my mind, I think checking TR here would be closer to the meta. So if I'm Sabo and I'm trying to come up with like some kind of imbalance between my opponent's route, I think you leave and hope that Ice Rod's not in TR.
Yeah, the issue is, though, like you said earlier, he's been pretty thorough as well. I feel like they both checked everything they could have. Sabo's not really making any skips, it feels like. Although I think if you're running in here, what's he gonna do? Is he gonna run out, or are we gonna save and quit? All right, this is TR. Or I guess it could be Spike Cave, but feels more like TR to me.
Yeah, TR is definitely not a bad play.
Oh, for sure.
I just think if anyone was going to skip TR, that's probably better for Sabo than it was for Hitsu to do.
What'll be interesting is if TR is completely empty, Hitsu's gonna go from feeling good to immediately feeling behind, I think.
That's a good point. Because you can't really save your portal. And even if you could, I don't think you'd want to, because, I mean, you still got to go clear desert.
Right. And Hitsu feeling behind, I feel like is, I mean, he's the type to be aggressive. So this will be interesting. Nice powder.
Oh boy. All right, no ice rod. He's not even going to try to save the portal, which I agree with.
Well, what could you do? Just go check powder right away and then... Which it looks like he's going to do.
I would probably do the crystal dungeon before doing this. Like, get the mire checks out of the way. I mean, I don't hate it. You know, you want to know immediately, you know, whether that TR dip was worth it or not. But
yeah,
I might try to line this up with Smith Chain. Sabo with an excellent dodge on chain chomps right there.
Like, and Hitsu mirrored at Mimic Cave, so it's not like he could even get back there. If he would have walked over to the left TR entrance, at least he could have salvaged it a little bit. But yeah. All right, so TR giving us nothing. Where do we go? Is Hitsu going to clown route?
Oh, I forgot. Chat's reminding me that you can't save a portal.
It was an Agaseed, yeah. But I mean, if he just mirrors at Laser Bridge and then checks powder right away, like he could have still used it.
You also need hook shot, so.
But that's sitting in swamp, so we couldn't have used our portal anyway, right?
Yeah.
All right, so Hitsu going into the crystal dungeon.
Bienvenidos, SpeedGaming Espanol. That is the extent of my Spanish, so sorry.
I wish I knew how to say Raiders in Spanish, because I would say "Hola, Raiders."
Nothing in the front of desert.
Nope.
Man, so what's your call after desert? We got hookless swamp, we got ice, we got mire.
Oh,
For
man.
Hitsu, there's still pendant skull.
I think we've established that pendant skull is last. You know, unless Hitsu's like, oh, Sabo could have done skull, I should go check that. But You know, you've got flute, you've got mitts. It's not hard to get back here. I think ice has to be the play, especially with Kane.
Yeah, I like ice too, especially green bend and ice.
Like, Meyer's quick, but if there's an item in cutscene or an item on video, you feel so bad for doing all those checks to just get one thing, and then you're wondering, oh, do I clear do I clear the boss? Do I go cutscene? And it's like that left side swamp conundrum, you know.
So, Chad asking why Sabo seems so far behind. Part of that is due to an early flute on Hitsu's part. Sabo also dove pod rather than going to catfish after Aga, which meant that he had to double dip pod because Hammer was on catfish, which Hitsu got before catfish. And Sabo has also checked Skull Woods, which Hitsu skipped. So those are just a few of the differences between Sabo's route and Hitsu's route.
Yeah, but in reality, it's just that desert. It's the clear of desert, and then Magic Bat and Mire Shed. Those are the only checks that Hitsu's done over Sabo. Where is this? Is Smith Chain?
Hitsu
Ooh, I like
checking, Hitsu checking the Meyer medallion. I wonder if that was like maybe trying to read some logic, like trying to figure out how deep the Meyer entry was.
Could be. But yeah, Sabo saying no to Meyer. This is Smith play, which in his position, you know, he may feel like he's a little behind, and wow, Hitsu deciding to do Smith too.
I like it over Meyer, but I kind of hate it over Desert.
He hasn't
Sabo
done
hasn't
these two
done
checks.
any of this, yeah.
So this makes more sense for him, for sure, given the fact that he hasn't done Stumpy, K45, or this. But Hitsu, this is... I feel like this is interesting.
Yeah, I don't know, especially in the late game. I just tend to favor dungeons over Overworld in this case. Especially because Hitsu's already done Dig Game, he's already done Stumpy. Like, for Sabo, there's a bit more value here.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's not the worst, like with the flute and the mirror. These two checks will be relatively quick, and then he could just flute over to do the purple chest.
I still, though, in Sabo's position, would probably do Meyer, because, like, you look at, like, that's a very quick, like, Meyer sheds 2 items, Checkerboard's an item, then you got 2 items in Desert, and I think that's almost exactly the number of items Sabo's going to pick up here in a lot more time. I'm always really happy to see Half Magic.
Oh yeah. Especially when you haven't been into Ice Palace yet. It feels so good to just fire away at Cold Stare.
Yeah. Or just not, like, you can just kind of go on autopilot, you know? You don't have to worry about it.
Exactly.
There's room for error. So Smith Chain coming up empty. And Hitsu back to the mountain. Is this a Spike Cave play?
It looks like a powder play of some sort. Yeah, no, this has to be Smith Chain, I would think. There's nothing else for him up here. Or Smith Chain. Sabo's doing Smith Chain. Hitsu's doing Spike Cave. Because he doesn't have the book, so you're not coming up here to do that. So he's doing whatever he can to avoid these pendant dungeons. Not the worst thing in the world, but I don't know. The 4 items out of ice with Kane just seems like the best play out. Oh, okay, dude. Nice ice rod there. Wow.
That is really bad for Sabo, I feel.
Yeah, I think so too.
Oh, is it Skull Woods? We finally getting skulled on his
There's
side?
nothing else up here for him.
This is interesting from Hitsu, I feel.
This may simply be an ice rod. I'm gonna do some cleanup just to make sure that Sabo doesn't get something that I don't have. I mean, then again, like after doing TR and finding nothing, there's a possibility you feel behind and you got to do some weird stuff. All right, so here's the Mire and Desert Play. So Hitsu fluting to 4. This is a hookless swamp play.
I like it, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know what I would do in this situation.
I think I would like this more in Sabo's position, but I don't mind the hookless swamp play.
Yeah, I mean, to be clear, there's no good play. They all kind of suck from here, right? But and you know, if the hook is in there, it's not like you have to re-enter swamp. You could just finish it.
Yeah, and then also like you were talking earlier, like Hitsu has the dive without the ice rod, which he could have had prior to TR. So I don't know if this is, you know, maybe Hitsu slightly on tilt because he now feels behind.
Yeah, it's perfectly reasonable to do the Super Bunny first chest and Hookshot Cave and then just clear Spike Cave and think that you might save TR for later, right?
Yeah.
But this is a long 4 checks here. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, and also just I'm kind of thinking from Sabo's perspective, like as again, I would love this play from his perspective, but I know that he needs to go to Spike Cave. But personally, like putting myself in Sabo's shoes, I don't see when I ever go back to Spike Cave in this scenario. After this, I'm thinking ice. After ice, I'm thinking maybe hookless swamp, and then maybe Mire, and then I just cry at that point.
Yeah, and especially with the item progression stuff, right? Like, especially when you're so late in these seeds, you use that item that you get to lead you to the next spot. And the cape, in theory, was potentially to get us through Aga. So, a lot of ways, like the cape could just be useless. You know, I also used it to get the ether off of Bumper Cave. And you know, technically, that's what's putting the Spike Cave stuff into logic. And it's all by itself. You'd have to mirror and flute your way up there. When you save and quit, you're gonna save and quit to the pyramid. It's not the best thing to do. So yeah, I tend to agree with you. I really don't know when Sabo makes his way over there, but hopefully soon for his sake.
Yeah, maybe in his oh, careful, Sabo. Okay, whew. You can drink in bottles in a doorway. We were talking about cape in a doorway earlier. Don't cape in a doorway. Also, don't drink and enter doors. Just be very careful in door. Don't use Samaria in a door. Don't use bombs in a door. I think bombs on their own are okay in a door, but yeah. The big question for Sabo, what does he do next?
So the best time for him to do it is right after checkerboard. We do checkerboard, we do Spike Cave, and then we figure it out from there.
Man, so much about it. We got Sabo's decision. We have Hitsu doing left side swamp. Very tense moment here.
Yeah. Ooh, Sabo gonna make the Mire play. So, if this is hookshot, we clear swamp. It's possible we do hookshot cave into spike cave after that.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sitting here thinking, like, from Sabo's perspective with this, I love the Mire play. Like, I have nothing. I mean, you got to pick Ice, Mire, whatever. I think this is a fine play. But best case scenario is he finds hookshot and Hitsu last locations it. But that means that Sabo's probably going to last locate that Ice Rod.
You think so?
So I don't know. It's just a weird situation. It's kind of hard to tell what Sabo's going to do with regards to Spike Cave. Spike Cave is my least favorite check in the entire game in any mode. So I might be projecting. Sabo might be a lot more eager to go to Spike Cave, but man, that would be a 100% last location for me.
Hitsu, by the way, choosing Mire over Ice, which is a choice. But I feel like with a hookshot, it's not... Spike Cave isn't terrible simply because he hasn't done hookshot cave yet.
It's also worth noting, and this might be coming into play, that depending on the key layout in Ice, there might be a significant portion of Ice that is hook locked. So that could be a decision, like that could be affecting things. But I don't know. I mean, it's at this point there really isn't a good decision. The only good decision is the correct decision, and everything else sucks. So
for sure, yeah, they're stuck with bad choices. It's which of the bad choices is going to pay out. But yeah, I am pretty surprised to see Hitsu in Mire at this point. Yeah, it's good for him.
If you have to go back, well, there's one item. That's nice. If you have to go back, like, to me, I feel like you can get more faster in Ice. You know, rather than fluting back to Mire, opening up Mire with the cutscene, and especially Kane, you just ice break and you instantly have like you're within arm's reach of like a bunch of checks.
I truly feel this is I spent whatever it is 4 minutes in Turtle Rock and got nothing out of it, and then I went to Hookless Swamp and I got nothing out of it. I'm losing this race, and I need to make the worst of the two plays that I have left. I went to Smith Chain, I got nothing out of it. I went to Skullwoods, I got nothing out of it. I feel like that's why you make the Mire play, because my opponent could have done Ice Palace 15 minutes ago. Because that's all Hitsu has left, right?
Yeah, and I'm trying to put myself in Hitsu's shoes. Like, yeah, because you did do the TR play on the mountain and got nothing out of it. But also, like, Mitts were on the mountain. You have the medallion to get into TR. Like, I don't think nothing in TR is as bad as it may seem, like, when you're in the middle of a race. You know, I probably would be in Hitsu's mindset, but, you know, like, here in the commentary booth, where I don't have to play the game and try to figure all this out. You know, in my mind, I'm thinking, like, I feel like 95% of the players, like, oh yeah, you get mitts and you have all the ingredients for a TR dip. Like, yeah, why would you not?
Yeah, especially given the fact that even after he left the mountain, so like when you're trying to think about what your opponent might do, you find those items on the mountain and you're like, well, I could do TR or I could go do desert. And if your opponent went to go do desert in the Mire area and found nothing, they're probably going to go to TR sooner rather than later versus dipping pendant dungeons, right?
Yeah,
so
100% agree with that.
You know, so you got, if you're like in that mental space, you're kind of thinking, I'm probably doing actually okay. The only difference is that Ice Rod, and if you're thinking that your opponent didn't do, because if you're going to finish your route on the mountain, you're either finishing it in TR or you're finishing it in Spike Cave.
Yeah.
And with the ice rod sitting there, that's a oh no, what did I do? You know, I dipped TR without it. My opponent probably has it. That's GG's.
So Hitsu found both items. Did Sabo not check the big chest? I know he got Burna. Is Sabo just making a ped play?
That could be. At this point, this is what he needs.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's the
For
best
that to
outcome.
happen, yeah.
Although even with the ped play, I still don't know when he gets ice rod.
Yeah, right.
So. Man, Sabo's had some.
So good.
Yeah, Sabo's had some like good plays. Like I actually I agree with going to pod over catfish, but that didn't work out for him, and just a couple other decisions here and there where, you know, if there's an item there, it comes out big, and it just hasn't worked out for him. So.
Yep.
Hitsu
and is that the moment where
finish up TR?
Yep. Like is Sabo now thinking, wait a minute, did I forget something? We'll see if he goes back in.
I know that he was over in that area. I know he did the map chest. I guess he didn't do the big chest.
Yeah, so little time loss here. It's not the worst chest, I guess, to have missed.
Yeah,
you don't have to hit any switches. You can just go do it.
Yeah, I wasn't watching his round. I don't know how he missed that, because I know he was in the area.
So where to? Are we going to Ice Palace now, you think?
God, I hope it's Spike Cave.
Well,
I hope it's Spike Cave with all my being. Spike Cave, Spike. Oh, dang. Yeah, I mean, I feel like this. If I was in Sabo's place, 100%, I think this is the call. Especially because you've already got that one pendant, so you need the pendant. You also want the hook shot and the ice rod. Like, yeah, I think this is the call to make.
Yeah, you spent all that time doing Vidi to get a map, and you're like, wait a minute.
Man, what's going to be funny is how bad Hitsu's going to feel if Hookshot is on Trinex. even though that would most certainly like solidify, you know, his lead in the race. Oh, Mushroom, let's bail. Well, it doesn't matter. He still needs that ice rod. I keep wanting Fabo to find the Hookshot, but I don't see where Hookshot can be that he gets ice rod before he gets Hookshot.
At this point in the race now, the best time for him was after checkerboard, I think. Once you commit to doing Mire and then finishing it with the boss, yeah, I think you've committed to pendant dungeons at that point. So what does Trinex have for us? Just a 20?
We found all items in ice, and Sabo is opting for the green pendant. Can't fault him. He already got one pendant. Oh my gosh.
There we go.
Is that the best case for Sabo? Oh, it feels so dirty saying go mode. That has to be the best, but that's the best thing that could have happened for Sabo. If we're talking about Sabo getting the ice rod as soon as possible. That's still super cruel, but
yeah.
Man, what a bad situation for Sabo. But man, good for Hitsu though. Hitsu in go mode. probably feel super behind with the double dip of TR, the hookless dive of Swamp.
The Mire
clear
dive,
Mire.
the Skull dive, yeah. Yeah, this is just casual boots doing casual boots things, being cruel to the runners.
Yeah.
I mean, that ice rod's in a bad spot.
Yeah, that's so bad for Sabo. But I mean,
Just in
TR
general.
you were able to go so deep into Turtle Rock. Like, Spike Cave just was never really a good option for either runner. Because to be honest, even when Hitsu went up to make the Spike Cave play, like, I felt it was a little dubious. You know,
Oh,
like,
yeah,
sure,
it was,
I mean, if the progression's there, then good. But otherwise, like, no, you should be in Ice or Mire or, you know, anywhere else.
yeah. I mean, that's the, you know, he did Smith Chain right before that. So that play is very clearly designed to be like a, I'm avoiding pendant dungeons. I'm just knocking out overworld, even though they may be terrible checks on their own. This is what I've chosen to do, and you know, when you make those decisions, you kind of got to stick to them.
Yeah.
So what are you gonna get? Like a book here? Oh, silvers. All right.
Second bow.
Yeah.
Welcome SpeedGaming 3.
This is like, it has been a raid party this last hour and a half.
Sabo going to kill Moth, which he should, with 2 pendants in hand.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the, when you commit to a choice, you got to stick with it.
And as much as we're lamenting, like, just in case, I think it's worth mentioning that without the knowledge that Ice Rod is on Spike Cave, like, Sabo's making perfectly rational decisions. Like, they're not working out because of where the items are in the seed, but given the knowledge that Sabo has, like, all of this is perfectly reasonable. Just unfortunately,
Yeah,
it's not
completely
going to
agree.
work out for him.
So that is Hitsu's 7th crystal.
So, where do you think the big key's going to be? I mean, we got to talk about it, right?
Yeah.
I think we're legally contracted to talk about this on SpeedGaming.
Yeah, we're not doing the big key guessing game from a numbers perspective. We actually have to make like a bold choice here. I'm gonna say the top right chest of Rando Room.
I'm going to say Compass Room.
Okay.
I'll take any of the 4.
Oh, okay. So I pick 1 chest and you pick 4. That seems fair.
Yeah. I'm gonna call it too if I win. I'll be like,
I didn't know that was in the rules. Man,
I think it's gonna be a
change my
GT.
answer now. Right.
Be somewhere on the left side, and then it's on Ice Armos, and you're like, ah, dang it. Oh man, what's gonna be on pedestal? I hope it's not the book.
I'm kind of hoping for a bug net.
I was thinking Sabo did get a mushroom in Ice that he never turned in. So even if there's not a fetch quest here, like, he's still got a fetch quest to do.
Yeah, he'll probably do that after this. Sabo just like, Agaped, let's do it.
All dungeons, go big or go home.
Ooh, money. So we started this seed with money. We're going to end this seed with money.
Sabo making it rain. Although I imagine
Exactly.
rupees are probably heavy. They'd probably be more like hail. Make it hail.
And you are right. We are diving Hookless Swamp before doing Spike Cave.
Man, I get it, but also I don't know if Sabo uses a map tracker. So I wonder if this might be a situation of just out of sight, out of mind, where he's forgotten it exists. Hitsu
Yeah, it's a
making
good
a
point.
towel room play. What is this?
I told you, he feels behind.
This says a lot about what Hitsu thought about his route relative to what Sabo did. Oh boy. No keys.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with it, but you know, it's
Why unlock
good.
the door if you're doing
He's-
the towel room play?
You know, he's
Because after you get the big
he's-
key, you're...
he knew there'd be a key there, I guess. I don't know. Or was it one of those, like, he was about to go right and he was like, yeah, you know what? Let's just do it. Let's knock it out. If I need that key on the left side, I'll go get it. All right, compass room. Is P-Train gonna be right? Oh, man.
Let's go! Suck it.
Wow, 2 shields. Hitsu looking for silvers, instead he gets a bunch of shield upgrades out of it.
Yeah, it's Oh, I was gonna say it's rough, but I mean, just depends on how much you like looking at your sprite, really.
I mean,
think
he was
Mirror
probably gonna
Shield is
get hit by
completely
these.
useless. I think Mirror Shield is completely useless except for Laser Bridge.
And these mimics. Hitsu's gonna get hammered by
yeah.
these mimics.
Fuck the mimics. That's right.
Tile room. I feel like we're gonna have to ask him about that.
Oh, I have a list of questions I want to ask Hitsu. Not getting Spike Dash, unfortunately.
Is it
It's
gonna
a
start
very,
with catfish?
Very tight dash. Oh, no, I felt like catfish. That was a 50-50. You know, that I don't fault Sabo for skipping it. I don't fault Hitsu for checking it. The avoidance of Ice Palace is interesting.
Yeah.
Diving Skull Woods over TR, but then picking TR over Ice Palace was interesting. Picking it same with Meyer. Also, just his last location of Eastern. I got some questions. Not call it shenanigans, but you know, just got some questions.
I'll be honest, I'm hoping he tells you he skipped Skull Woods and Pod because he forgot he had the bow and the fire rod. Just to make me not look so bad. But Hitsu making quick work of this climb in land mode 2, and we get the 1 cycle. Nice. That's another, half magic. Great thing having half magic.
Yeah, especially if you don't have lamp, which I mean, our runners have lamp, but yeah, magic can get surprisingly tight. Like a lot of people who are used to just being so overpowered in the end game, if you ever get up to GT like lampless and you don't have half magic, it's one of those things you really have to pay attention to or it'll get away from you. There's nothing worse than mirroring at the top of GT because you don't have enough magic to light torches.
Yeah, there's only 2 pots in here? The small.
There's I think there's only
magics?
one small magic. I could be wrong about that though.
Well, because I think there's one in the bottom pot, right?
Yeah.
Those 2 pots that are lined up. Yeah. So yeah, you get 2 fire rod shots.
But yeah, even as I'm talking about Hitsu's routing though, like I can't tell you how many times as a runner where like you have a bunch of equal options and you're just like, yeah, I'm never checking skull. I'm just not feeling it. And you just convince yourself that nothing's there.
Yeah.
And you believe it for the rest of the race.
Well,
it's like, I hate someone. I'm never going there ever.
Some of that comes down to just the Dark World access, right? Like when you don't have mitts, it's so painful to do that entire loop around. It's not like a ton of time. It just feels bad. All the screen transitions and then, when you skipped it the first time and it's like this walk of shame when you have to go back and check it.
Sabo turning in the mushroom now. I would have thought you would do this before the hookless swamp dive. But maybe you're just at that point where it's like, yeah, if it's mushroom, I've lost anyways. So now you're doing this because your opponent hasn't finished yet.
Right. It's like my brain has exploded, so I can't really think straight anyway. I think all he has left is Spike Cave at this point. Yeah.
That's never a good feeling to be as a runner, where like you're pretty sure you've lost, and you're just waiting for your opponent to catch that golden snitch and done. Sabo's gonna be so happy to find. He's probably gonna think he's about to find hookshot too, which is what's funny. Like if I was in his situation, I'm like, oh, I'm finding hookshot and ice rods in the back of swamp.
Yep. And you get the ice rod, you're like, oh, thanks game. The hookshot's on Trinex.
And he's gonna put that together immediately because this is all he has left.
Yep. I mean, in his mind, he's like, oh, it's a stupid book. It's going to give me a book on Trinex, and I'm going to have to go do Ether Tablet. Oh, and there it is. I hate that so much. After you killed Aga, you save and quit out of Spike Cave just to go back to the pyramid, and then you mirror. And
Hitsu missing the 1-in-1.
Yeah, having a little trouble here.
Oh, and to add injury to insult, Sabo has to climb the mountain because, of course, we don't have hookshot yet.
Right.
This just feels awful.
Yeah.
Hitsu is probably expecting Sabo to die done any second now.
Yeah, he's probably wondering why it hasn't happened.
Yeah.
For 10 minutes. But yeah, this seed was just plain rude.
Yeah, this was a bad seed.
We had Agar required, hammer on Catfish, Ice Rod in Spike Cave with hook on Trinex. An early Fire Rod that was completely useless. An early Bow that was completely useless, right? Because there was nothing in Eastern or Pod.
Yeah, I mean, other than the fact that Pod was a crystal and Eastern was a crystal.
Yeah. Alright, Hitsu knocking Ganon down just over the 137.40 mark. We'll get his official time. 137.46 racetime.gg time, and an immediate forfeit by Sabo. Get your GGs in chat for these runners. This was certainly a seed.
Yeah.
We'll see if we get either of these runners to join us. And looks like we're going to get both. So, Petrin, we talked about it at the top. I'm going to let you run this interview.
Oh, yeah. I mean, feel free to. I don't want to be like, oh,
I'm kidding.
That, but...
You have a list of questions for Hitsu. I'm hoping you get into each and every one of them.
Hello, Hitsu. GG's.
GG's.
GG.
How do you? I have a handful of questions to ask you, but before I get to the questions, how do you feel about that seed?
It was a great one, right? I don't feel behind. Never, Kappa.
So we guessed because you were more or less in the driver's seat, and we'll get into some of the differences between Sabo's routing like once he gets in, but for the most part we felt like you probably felt good about your route until the TR mark, where you dive TR, there's nothing in TR, and then shortly after you find Ice Rod and Spike Cave. We felt like TR might be the point where you actually start feeling behind. Was that the case?
Yeah, I feel behind when I found the ice rod, to be honest, because there was a chance that you go instead of TR to the ice rod instead. And then you just hit go mode, because really later then I saw the hook shot there also, and then I feel really, really behind. Because after the ice rod I just prioritized like the other checks, that there's the hook shot.
Gotcha. We are also joined by Sabo. GG's.
Yo, GG's Hitsu.
GG's, Sabo.
So this is a pretty rough one. So to highlight some of the differences between y'all's route, Hitsu, whereas you opted to go to Hobo, Sabo, with your water vault.
Oh yeah.
Hitsu went to the Zora area and was able to splash delete for his flute.
Nice.
Although he did end up last locating Eastern after that. But because he had the flute, he got around a little bit faster than you did. And he also opted to do Catfish before Pod. So he got to
that was the start of
Pod.
my woes right there for sure. That move there, I knew I should have gone to Catfish first. Oh yeah.
I mean, to be honest, at the time I liked the Pod rush, but by that time Hitsu had already found the hammer, so it was just like, oh well, this is gonna end badly. So that was a big difference. And then of course, Hitsu, you made the lone trip up to Spike Cave, which got you the ice rod, and Sabo ended up last locating the ice rod, which led to some funny commentary between me and Moogle, because every place you dove, Sabo, that wasn't Spike Cave, we so wanted you to find the hook shot just to bring you back against Hitsu, but also realizing that hook shot was probably the worst thing you could have found in that scenario.
Yeah.
And then we had the funny comment when Hitsu pulled hookshot off of Trinex. We were like, oh snap, that's the best place for hookshot to be for Sabo, because he's definitely going to get his ice rod before getting hookshot, while simultaneously realizing that, yeah, you're about to last locate everything.
Yeah.
So I do have some questions, and I'll start with Hitsu. So you clear desert. And, at this point, I think you're missing Ice Rod. You might have had Ice Rod at some point, but I felt like you have Ice Rod. And then of all the pendant dungeons, you have Ice, you have... did you do Hookless Swamp before or after Skull? I can't remember.
I think I did after Ice Rod Swamp, or I did Skullwoods into Swamp, huh? Skullwood, Swamp, Maya, and then TR again. So,
kind of walk us through that decision making, because you have none of these decisions are good, but you had an opportunity to do Skull earlier, and you skipped it. So you do Skull, you do the Hookless Swamp, then you do Mire, and then you go back up to TR with your Ice Rod. Why pick Skull over going back to TR? Why pick Mire over going to... Really, any of those over going to TR?
Overall,
and then also, why avoid the Ice Palace?
Yeah, overall, I don't went to TR because I feel bad. Usually, it's the best play to do, I would say there, because you have to do it anyway. But there was only one check, and at this point, I had like the other stuff that were like together, not including Ice Palace. Yeah, and then I did the other stuff because there were more checks, and I just gambled at this point.
Gotcha. Yeah. So you felt like TR was like the meta play?
Yeah.
Okay.
And before that, because I don't did Skywoods, because at this point in the race I was thinking we skip all pendants. So I just skipped that, then I found mids, and then, yeah, got leaded to Maya area and stuff, and then I had only Spy Cave left before I had to dip a dungeon. Yeah, and then I feel really bad after the ice sword was popping up.
I didn't know if you had something you wanted to ask, Moot.
No, I was just gonna say I think I kind of felt throughout that race that as soon as Hitsu you went into TR that you felt behind. Just knowing you a little bit that was going to be the moment I think where you start to feel behind, and that when you're choosing to stay out of Ice Palace, given the number of items there and the fact that you can just icebreaker it, like it's probably because you feel like you're behind. So yeah, it makes sense when you talk about it in retrospect.
And at the end, I don't feel good of the ice sword, and then I just played the game and did checks. There was not really I just prioritized where more items was at the end. That's all.
Yeah, even leading up to that, though, so you have bow, lamp, and even the fire rod, but I felt like I think you last located Eastern, which had the mirror. And then once you get into Dark World, you make a catfish play and you immediately find the hammer. But rather than go to pod, you do Hype Cave to Dig Game. What was going through your mind? What was going through your decision making process that caused you to put off those crystals?
First of all, when I dashed down the pyramid, I was thinking, okay, I could also mirror here and fly to pod. And then I didn't, and then I just said in my head just to Hype Cave then from here, and mirror to pod, and fly there. Okay. And because it's like a big location, Hype Cave, you never skip it, so it's for me like a crystal that I have to do 100%.
Okay, and then Sabo.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Spy Cave is what it is. The TR lets you go down way too deep for Spy Cave to ever be reasonable. Mm-hmm. So in our minds, we were me and Moogle were talking about it. We felt like the best time for you to do Spy Cave was just a one-off YOLO, probably after doing Mire. And at that point, you had the Mire pendant, so Ped is on the mind. Also, Ice Palace has some nice density to it, especially compared to the one-off check of Spike Cave. So, but one thing that you did do after clearing TR, even before going to Crystal Desert, you opted to do Smith Chain first. Why pick the Smith Chain over the Crystal Dungeon?
Oh, because I found powder in TR, I think. I think it was on Laser Bridge, and I was like, okay, this has got to be the thing. Otherwise, I'm already behind. I was thinking that I was probably already behind based on the TR dip alone. That felt stupid after I had finished it. So I thought, okay, the only thing that can pay out is this powder. Otherwise, it was completely a waste of time, and I'm well behind at this point. As for going to Spike Cave, I almost pulled the trigger and didn't even go into TR at all. I thought about that when I was, opening the door to TR there. I was like, maybe I should just bail on this completely because this is never going to work out. And then I chickened out and I thought, okay, I'm just going to dive the dungeon. It'll be fine. So that was really the point where I should have just stuck with my first instinct there and ran for Spike Cave instead of diving the dungeon. But I don't know. I think you're probably right. I should have stopped my, pendant pursuit for a few seconds there, maybe just to do a little bit more cleanup, just on the off chance that something I'd left behind was just kind of hanging around somewhere. But again, I think it was just I was pot committed at that point, and I thought after everything else that had happened in the seed so far, actually, I also got it wrong. I thought that Meyer was the green pendant, and when that blue pendant dropped down, I was like, I blew it again.
Oh no.
Oh, okay, that makes sense now.
Yeah.
So then I was like, well, okay, I guess I really got to have this be on head or something. It just went from bad to worse, and at first the seed felt like, okay, I made a couple of goofs, but I'm clearing things in nice big chunks. But I was missing all of the important stuff, I guess, and that just led to bad times. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, no, we were talking when you were on the mountain, because I mean, at least from my perspective, if you're on the mountain and you're able to check TR, I feel like the popular decision is you always drive TR. Mm-hmm. So we were actually talking, like I felt like TR was probably a good decision for Hitsu. Because at that point, if I'm Hitsu, it's like, oh, well, I got Flute super early. Oh, well, I got Hammer before Pod. I can afford a dungeon dip. Whereas with you, you had a bit of a rougher, bit later to the Flute, which you may or may not have been even thinking about. But certainly the Hammer, I felt like had to be weighing on, how you're evaluating your performance so far. So I was kind of rooting on you to skip TR. But at the same time, Hitsu hadn't cleared TR. So the last thing I want to do is be like, oh yeah, you should leave TR, and then Hitsu finds, Ice Rod on the last check of Laser
all
Bridge.
the goodies. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But no, this was very interesting because Hitsu had like just enough information so that we kind of knew how a lot of your decisions are going to pan out by the time you got there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So
yeah.
When Hitsu found Ice Rod in Spike Cave, that was like the nail in the coffin at that point.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
We felt so bad for you.
Oh, jeez. Good stuff.
I think that's about all my questions, though. I don't know if you had anything you wanted to ask him.
No, I'm good. This will be an interesting watch back for you guys. I think.
Yeah.
But you were basically just following Hitsu. You were just a couple minutes behind most of the time, and yeah, it was a good race for trying to think about those decision points around what you might do given. It's like we knew Hitsu's in TR. Like, oh, Sabo actually gonna do the other thing here and go off the mountain and stuff, but unfortunately things just didn't pan out for you. So
yeah,
but
it's good that it was at least entertaining for a while there before the wheels came off on my end. So yeah.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, no, even then, like
what?
Hitsu
you just laugh at me after that?
No.
Hitsu gave a lot of time back because like we were just waiting for someone to go into ice, but Hitsu went to Skull Woods, which you had already done. Hitsu went into Meyer, which you were currently doing. Hitsu did Hook the Swamp before you did, which had nothing. So for a while there, like we just kept wishing you to go to Spike, but at that point, not knowing the Ice Rod's there, if you ever made the point to go to Spike Cave, I'd be like, what are you doing? Like, why not go do the rest of the pendants? But
totally.
I was really trying that your team name is just a lie.
No, it was a lot of fun. It really was a good race.
Nice. Well, thanks for you guys for picking up the commentary slack there to get on this one and get us a broadcast, and Yoinker's wife as well doing tracking. So thank you guys for stepping in today.
Yeah, thanks, Peter and Mogul.
No worries. This was a fun one to do.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're pretty much done. Do y'all have any final thoughts before we sign off?
I'm just gonna lick my wounds after this one. That was unfortunate, but yeah, GG's again to Hitsu, and I'm sure you guys are gonna go far. So good luck rest of the way, man.
And with that, we'll go ahead and sign off. If you're watching, I hope you enjoyed it. And I don't. Do we have a process for signing off, or did I just say goodbye?
I think we'll go ahead and say goodbye. I just do want to mention one thing. So we do have a couple more races left this evening for the ALTTPR League. Both races will be in just about an hour now, 8:10 p.m. Eastern. One of the matches will be on SpeedGaming 3 and the other will be on SpeedGaming 2. So please check those out. But otherwise, please have a good rest of your day.